So today we're going to be talking about our new two new occupations that we were able to get approved through the Washington State Training and Apprenticeship Council and our committee. This has been a year in the making for our staff to be able to develop, design, ask the right questions to employers and subject matter experts as to what they need. As you know, AJAC has kind of a mission to be able to serve employers in all different ways at all different levels. And what we like to say is from the front door of your manufacturing operations to the back door, we want to have occupations that help serve employers and their needs. So if you have some ideas of some other occupations that you're like, man, I wish I had some sort of training model for this type of occupation, please discuss this with your local business developers here on the call today. We'd love to hear more about what those needs are so that we can help develop and keep relevant training open to you guys as much as we can. So today we're excited to launch this in fall, logistics specialist and operations specialist apprenticeship programs. So we'll go to the next slide, and excited to introduce you to the team that I have the privilege to work with. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Brianna Durham, or Bree Durham, and I'm the Director of Business Development and Programs for the organization. So I, like I said, I lead all the business development and strategy for this team here today, as also help supervise our apprenticeship training and our adult training. So excited to kind of answer questions the best I can throughout the day as well. So I will hand it over to Erin to introduce herself and where she works, and that's the area she serves.
Hi there, I'm Erin Williams. I'm a regional program manager for North Puget Sound and up, you kind of call that. I work with Amy here. We share the King County area, and I go up to the border. So anywhere in North King County, Snohomish, Skagit, Whatcom, etc. That's my territory, and love working with my employers up there. I'll pass it over to Heather.
Hi, everybody. Heather Collins, Manager of Business Development for the Central Washington region. So I'm based out of Yakima, but I also do work in Moses Lake, the Tri-Cities, Wenatchee, kind of that whole center strip of Washington, north to south. So happy to have you all here.
Hi, everyone. I'm Amy Suter. I am also a regional program manager. I handle, as Erin was saying, South King County down to North Olympia. So Pierce County, South King County, love to help and reach out if you have any questions. And I will pass it to Dennis.
Good morning. Welcome, everyone. I'm Dennis Matson. I'm the Regional Program Manager for Northeastern Washington and Northern Idaho. However, I'm more than happy to go down into the Boise area as we're recruiting and starting to target that area as well. Special shout out to Michelle Ledbetter, a former Skills Center Director as myself. Now to Damien.
All right. Pardon me. I'm Damien Majesta. I'm a Regional Program Manager for Southwest Washington. So that's looking like Olympia to Vancouver, into Portland, and I'm the newest member here, so I'm pretty excited to be here and learn about all the different businesses and work with this team.
All right. So as we're going to the next slide here, I know that there's a lot of new employers that are on this call that are registered. We're excited to see you here today and hopefully do business with you in the future or partner in different ways. So a little bit about who we are. So AJAC's a nonprofit organization. We provide apprenticeship programs for manufacturing across the Pacific Northwest. We started in 2008 and became a nonprofit state-funded apprenticeship program to help employers develop their internal training goals and just help develop a pipeline for just workforce strategies in general that employers could utilize. So we also help employers with how to recruit and retain new employees, as well as we do have some pipeline programs that you can ask your regional program managers about that are available in your area for job seekers and youth in your area that are looking for opportunities. We are focused on serving employers across the Pacific Northwest. Our program supports small to mid-sized employers and also large employers with their workforce strategies and training. And then we currently serve about 400 apprentices a year, 140 pre-apprentices, and we have about 350 employers that we work with across the state. And our vision is to create industry-driven apprenticeship programs that serve the lifelong learning requirements of the 20th century workforce. As you guys all know, there's so much technology and automation coming in to your shop floors for you to stay competitive. And so our mission is to make sure we expose our apprentices to that and then also learn from employers what their needs are. So we really try to stay on that curve all the time. And then this is just all of our AJAC staff at a recent employee barbecue. So as you can know, with the numbers of students that we serve and employers, we're a small but mighty crew that help our employers really take these programs on. And we really try to make partnering with us as easy as possible. So that's why we have the staff you see here today. So I'm excited to be able to share all of their faces with you. They don't always, get their time in the limelight, but we are so appreciative for all the hard work that they do. It really does make it feel very seamless on an employer and apprentice level to participate. So, so on to the next slide. All right. Thank you. So we want to thank our sponsor today, just so that you are aware, we have a strong partnership with the Pacific Northwest Aerospace Alliance. They are sponsoring this roundtable and lunch and learn today. So I wanted to introduce you to a good friend and colleague. Her name is Nikki Malcolm, and I wanted her to just share a few words with those in the aerospace cluster here today about what PNNA is doing and what they're about, so you can check them out. So I'm going to hand it over to Nikki.
Thank you so much, Bree, and we appreciate your partnership as well. Reading your mission just helps me reaffirm how closely we are aligned and how dedicated all of our small but mighty organizations are to supporting the industry. We are an aerospace-focused trade association to help promote the growth and global competitiveness of the aerospace cluster. Could I share a slide really quickly, or a few slides, Bree, or is that?
I'm not sure.
No problem. It's not, I'll just talk through them. So essentially,
Okay.
we create events for networking, for B2B, all of these ways to help you drive the growth and global competitiveness of your organization. And one of the things that we're really excited about, especially in reference to workforce, is we were awarded the Innovation Cluster Acceleration Program through the state of Washington. And through that work, one of our focus areas is workforce. And we have been going through an innovation process to come up with new ideas and processes in close collaboration with many of the partners that are on the call here with us today to work on some workforce improvements or innovations, if you will, things like a potential mentorship program, career exploration technology, knowledge transfer technology, and things like that are all projects that we are working towards to help improve the workforce challenges that we're all facing these days. So just all of that to say, reach out if you would like to be a part of that or hear more about it. I'd be happy to talk it through with you. And just know that all of us organizations are working in close collaboration for the benefit of the region here. Thank you, Bree.
Thanks. So hopefully Nikki and her team can put in their website information so you guys can contact them. They're fantastic to work with. This is just an example of one of the partnerships that AJAC has. I know there's a lot of food and beverage people on the call today too. So we are working with the Pacific Northwest Food and Beverage Association as well. And we will be at the upcoming kind of event in Portland and have a booth if you guys want to talk to us. But just wanted to highlight and thank you, Nikki, for sharing out about your organization today. All right, on to the next slide.
All right, so I think now we want to just start
I'm gonna
talking
hand
about.
it over to Heather. Yeah.
Oh, sorry. All right. So I want to start talking to you and just introduce you to our programs overall, obviously later we're going to laser focus in on the logistics and operations specialists, but AJAC does offer apprenticeship programs, as you can see, at multiple levels. We start in the high schools with youth apprenticeships, training juniors and seniors in high school and getting them on the shop floor and some on-the-job training. And then, you know, really the bread and butter of what we do is training your current workforce and upskilling them to, you know, any one of these different positions. So these programs range anywhere from, you know, 18 months in length to up to 6 years in length, depending on, you know, the level of mastery and training needed for that specific occupation. So I just wanted to give you some time to look over this list, because if for whatever reason logistics or operations isn't the best fit for you, we obviously offer multiple other programs. As Bree mentioned, I know we have a lot of food processors and people in, the food manufacturing industry on the call. So I did want to highlight under the entry level section, the machine operator program that was created specifically to serve the food processing industry. It includes classes on food science and things like that. So while we don't have time to fully dive deep into that today, I did want to highlight that for our food processors on the call, that we do have that option available as well. We enroll for any one of these programs all throughout the year, and spring enrollment is currently open. Our spring classes start in the first week of April. So if you're interested in any one of these, you can reach out to your regional program manager. Our contact information will be up on the slides at the end of the presentation. And we can go on to the next slide, Damien. Thank you. Also, big shout out to Damien for running the slides for us today. It's very helpful. So all of those programs that you saw, with the exception of the youth apprenticeship program in the high schools, run under the same structure. So when we come in and talk to you about training up your current workforce in any one of those occupations, it's going to have this structure where 93% of the training of your apprenticeship is on the job training. That's rotating people through different departments of your shop, getting them well cross-trained, and making sure that they have a variety of skills to become more productive and successful on your shop floor. So what that looks like in the day-to-day or in your average week is that, your employees will continue to work their normal hours, and they can work, their regular shifts. And then for the 7% of classroom training, they come to an AJAC class one night per week. That class may be online or in person based off of employer demand and our instructor availability. But I will say our online classes are live taught instructor classes. So it's a Zoom link that they log into and can interact with their teacher. It's a live lecture class. So that class will be one of those. Normally our classes are Tuesdays, Wednesdays, or Thursdays in the evening from 5 to 9 p.m. But, depending on, your level of interest and how many people you'd like to put into the program, sometimes we can be flexible with that time and day, depending on what works best for your employees. And we'll cover that a little bit later here. So we can move on to the next slide. I just wanted to cover some things that make the AJAC apprenticeship unique, and things that we bring to the table. We're really passionate about providing a high quality program for our employers and making sure that your employees are getting the supports and the skills that they need. So the first thing I'd like to highlight is that we're a nonprofit. We mentioned that already, but that means that there's no cost to partner with us. AJAC comes in as the program intermediary, and we take on all of those administrative tasks, associated with running the program. That's what our staff is here for. So things like apprentices need to report their hours, to track their on-the-job training. AJAC keeps track of those hours. We partner with the colleges. We provide the curriculum. We will enroll students in the classes. All of that administrative support comes to you at no cost when you partner with AJAC. And then we also offer a no-cost mentorship training to your shop leads and supervisors on the floor, those people that are going to be helping train your apprentices up in the different skills that they need. We can come to your shop and train up those employees and help them, become really great mentors. It's a fun class because a lot of times those mentors it can be hard when you're trying to explain something to an apprentice and they're not quite grasping it. So we cover, how to go through, that complexity of mentorship. We also, later on, we're obviously going to get more in depth into what logistics and operations specialists look like. But you'll notice for the on-the-job training hours, we divide those hours into different categories of work. Those categories might seem pretty broad, so we do that so that we can serve a wide range of employers. And then what we can do is customize on-the-job training rotations for your shop specifically. So for example, we've gone into different shops and done a tour with our subject matter experts to really define what those categories of work look like specific to your shop floor. And we'll create that checklist, share it with your leads, supervisors, and mentors so that your apprentices are being rotated in a way that makes sense specifically to your shop. All of the classes that AJAC offers are college accredited. We partner with a number of different colleges across the state to accredit each of our programs. Each class offers 5 college credits. So depending on the length of the occupation you're training to, a student could earn anywhere between 30 to 60 college credits towards their associate's degree. And a great benefit to the AJAC classes is that the tuition cost is reduced by 50% for those apprentices. So that comes out to a cost of about $300 per person per class. And lastly, I'd like to highlight that when you partner with AJAC, we don't have time on the call today to discuss all of our pipeline programs, but we partner with a ton of different organizations and serve underrepresented populations. We really want to help bring people into the industry. So we have our own pre-employment and pre-apprenticeship training we offer. We help out justice involved individuals with getting their second chance and back into the workforce. We also partner with transitioning veterans out of the military into manufacturing. So we are happy to help connect you with those people in our pre-employment programs as one of our partners. And we can move to the next slide. Thank you. So not only do we have we want to have good benefits for our employer partners, but we also want to make sure that our students are supported. I'm really happy to talk to you about the Washington College Grant. I believe this is the second year that we've had the Washington College Grant for apprentices available. This is money that is given directly to apprentices to help with educational expenses, depending on their family size and income. But just this year alone, we have distributed over $100,000 to our apprentices to help with things like that tuition cost, transportation to and from their class site, books, any tools or equipment they might need. So we're really happy to have this offering for all of our registered apprentices. We also have staff on site at AJAC that are available to answer any questions apprentices may have. They check in with our new apprentices to see how things are going. They're available to answer questions about classes, textbooks, anything they might have. So we have student support staff available at AJAC for all of our apprentices as well. And as I mentioned earlier, apprentices have that option for continuing their education, whether that's pursuing their degree because they're getting college credits through our courses, or a lot of our apprenticeships are built to be stackable. So for example, a student might start in high school in our production technician program, move into the machining apprenticeship program, and then move into a CNC programmer apprenticeship. So they have that option to continue to enhance and build their skills through apprenticeship or through getting their college education through one of our partnering colleges. At the end of their program, all of our students attend a graduation ceremony, which is really cool. We do it in Seattle at the Museum of Flight, and we have a big celebration for all of our apprentices that graduate. And not only do they get to attend that graduation and celebrate with their employers and AJAC and friends and family, but they also get that journey level certification from the state. So all of AJAC's programs are registered with the Washington Department of Labor and Industries, which means that their certification comes directly from the state and is something that proves, the hard work and effort they put into their classes and their on-the-job training for the programs. So pause there. That's a lot of information. So before we jump into, logistics specialist and operations specialist specifically, I wanted to see if there were any questions.
There's a
One from
question.
Amy.
Yeah.
Is this program also-
One question is the program, go for it, Amy. Or is this program also for individuals who are not yet employed and would like to get into the trades as a career path?
Okay, that's a great question. So as I mentioned earlier, we have our pipeline programs. So the registered apprenticeship programs are for your current employees, but we have a pre-apprenticeship program called Manufacturing Academy that lasts anywhere from 10 to 12 weeks. And students can participate in that program before going into the registered apprenticeship. So what we can do is connect you to any of our graduates from the Manufacturing Academy program if you're interested in hiring them, and then we can help move them into the apprenticeship career path. So hopefully that answers that question.
And then there's another question here. Is there a certification for the state of Oregon? And I would say yes. We have reciprocity agreements with our apprenticeship standards that we operate off of, where we can serve apprentices in Oregon. And so since it's a nationally recognized credential that they get at the end, we're able to issue that for Oregon and Idaho as well. So hopefully that answers your question. And then somebody asked about when graduation is for this year, and I will pop that into the chats.
Okay, so let's get down to the main focus of today's Lunch and Learn. Both logistics specialist and operations specialist programs are beneficial for all manufacturing industries, which allows AJAC to expand and offer programs for new companies and new subgroups such as food processing, medical fields, warehousing, etc. A logistics specialist is responsible for managing supply functions, including procuring, receiving, stowing, issuing, and inventory material. Some examples of broad job titles for logistics specialists might include warehouse assistant, logistics coordinator, forklift operator, inventory clerk and associate, or controller, shipping and receiving. An operations specialist is responsible for managing workflow, daily activities, and performance. Some job titles for this, which are not all inclusive, include production specialist, production or line lead, sales supervisor, production team lead, first line operators, etc. Next slide, please. These programs add to our already full occupational lineup of apprenticeships. AJAC implements new programs based on employer demand. Through employer feedback, requests, and conversations, AJAC learned many employers wanted a specific program for logistics and then a different one for operations management. AJAC conducted focus groups and interviews with employers and subject matter experts to formulate the program, including the associated coursework and the on-the-job training work categories. Expanding our program offerings allows training opportunities at all levels of your company. So the on-the-job training is 3,000 OJT hours, roughly 18 months in length. The 4 OJT categories are meant to be broad and can be somewhat customized for your shop floor capabilities and needs. These buckets, though, include inventory and production management, roughly 1,000 hours. During this time, an apprentice will coordinate the flow of inventory and assess production output and needs, process documentation and prepare reports, gather supplier information and materials, coordinate schedules for material movement, etc. For distribution and logistics, that's about 800 hours of the program. Help schedule transportation and product materials, prepare invoices, maintains inventory databases and accuracy, coordinate and schedule for drivers. Storage and warehousing, also 800 hours. Unload and load materials, inspect packages, check labels and supplies for accuracy and quality. Also forklift operation and training and safety. In internal and external customer service, Lean, and Six Sigma projects. Roughly 400 hours to round out the 3,000. Interpret and enter ERP data through data collection to aid in traceability, requisitioning, controlling and maintaining supplies and equipment, assist in lean projects, Six Sigma, and continuous improvement programs, work with internal and external customers and vendors, and they'll be receiving a green belt for this, green belt and lean. Next slide. Related supplemental instruction. This is the coursework that they are associated with the logistics specialist. There's 5 college classes, and they'll receive 25 college credits to be a part of this program. These courses were determined and developed with great input from various employers and people currently in similar roles. So the cost is about $1,500 for this program for tuition. Classes include operations and supply chain essentials. During this time, students will explore concepts and functions with operations and supply chain management, review complex processes to bring a finished product to life for customers, understand and explain new demands, advancing technology, changing preferences to adapt and survive, and to adapt to survive and create new projects. Framework around logistics and warehouse management principles is also covered. The next course is advanced communications. During this time, they'll learn basic communication concepts relating to the workplace, such as theory and skills practice related to interpersonal, intercultural, and production team communication to enhance their leadership skills. Apprentices will learn technical writing and business communications and conflict resolution. During the Lean and Six Sigma Foundations class, students will be able to relate Lean Six Sigma concepts to production objectives. They will identify within the value stream, identify waste within the value stream, and learn how to analyze and present data to colleagues and stakeholders. They'll be collecting and processing customer or internal stakeholder input and requirements and identifying key metrics for measuring successes. For the inventory and warehouse management course, students will describe types of inventory and develop an understanding of financial accounting for inventory. Students will learn barcodes and RFID. They will review inventory management, understand the causes of inventory system failures, and how to fix those problems. They'll learn basic risks of supply chain management, the importance of warehouse safety, and focusing on inventory or injury prevention and reporting, the forklift safety, and additional, I think it's eight full hours of safety in this course. And finally, the Enterprise Resource Planning ERP Foundation. AJAC will be using ProShop ERP in a simulated environment, but we'll be teaching apprentices how to use any standard ERP system. Apprentices will explore ways the ERP is used to efficiently manage demand and procurement. They will create invoices to send directly to customers and other documentation, and they will identify how ERP processes enhance collaboration. As a logistics specialist, I'm going to pass on over to Amy, although we will monitor the questions just for a moment before we move on to operations specialist. Let's see. Are there any specific ones? That can be reviewed a little bit later at the end of the program, I think. Amy, do you want to go ahead?
Thanks, Erin. Yeah, so let's dive into operations specialist. Just a reminder, an operations specialist is responsible for the management of workflow throughout the different departments within a manufacturing business. The purpose of this position is to optimize daily activities and performance across the production floor. And remember, this is our title of this. Your shop likely could call them something different: line lead, shift supervisors, production specialists, sales supervisor, team leads. It doesn't matter. They do not need to be named the same. And these are the folks that are naturally taking the lead. They are showing initiative and leadership, looking for advancement and challenge, talking to you about how to improve the work, and are the leads amongst their peers. But this apprenticeship could also be used for your current leads. Are they looking to strengthen their roles or increase their knowledge? The OJT rotation, it's a 3,000-hour program. As noted with logistics, the 5 OJT categories are meant to be broad and can be somewhat customized to your shop floor capabilities and needs. These are the on-the-job training rotations, the 93% of apprenticeship. The first one, 1,000 hours of monitor and build production goals, builds, coordinates, and monitors daily production goals of the shop floor. Continuous improvement projects, 800 hours. The apprentice will conduct continuous improvement meetings and projects with Lean Six Sigma in mind. Direct line production staff, 600 hours. The apprentice will manage or aid line production staff in daily tasks. They'll support in line conflicts, troubleshooting, and operations. Next, 300 hours perform equipment training. The apprentice will perform operational training on production equipment and enforces shop health and safety. And finally, 300 hours in quality assurance. The apprentice will support any quality assurance programs and protocols throughout the shop floor. And again, these are customizable to your shop. And remember, we can help you train up your mentors to help apprentices with this rotation, as well as we can help you and assist in building a rotation and plans and competency checklists for your shop. Next slide, please, Damien. Now we'll talk about the RSI, or the related supplemental instruction. It's 6 classes, and they are 30 college credits for about $300 a quarter per person. This is the theory behind what they do, the 7% of apprenticeship. The first one is planning and management operations. Students will learn best practices related to scheduling, estimating cost, forecasting workload, planning resource use, setting department goals, and monitoring progress. Next, we have advanced communications. You'll see some of these are very similar to the logistics programs. Concepts include theory and skills practice related to interpersonal, intercultural, and production team communications, technical writing, business communication, phone, email etiquette, and conflict management. Again, you'll see Lean and Six Sigma. In this course, students will be able to relate Lean and Six Sigma concepts to production objectives. Next, we have manufacturing leadership. This course, apprentices will be introduced to interpersonal communication skills critical to leaders, including running effective and productive meetings, developing active listening skills, contributing to group decision-making, and strategies for presenting to a hostile audience. And I know none of you are hostile, so we're going to take our skills and learn from here. Next, we have ERP foundations. Again, you're seeing this from the logistics. Students are going to learn how to use their ERP. They're going to stimulate the environment to understand and relate to shop management of your shop floor. And finally, product and project management. Students will build on their knowledge of project management and explore techniques for getting projects back on track. They will focus on assigning project roles and responsibilities, problem solving, and risk management. Real-world examples will be presented to be worked through. Next slide, please, Damien. So let's talk about the training models for these 2 new programs. They were designed for online classes, allowing employees to enroll 1 or 2 apprentices from your shop. Classes, like we said, are 1 night a week for 4 hours. But when we say online, they are live lectured on Zoom with the instructor and other classmates participating. They're not just pre-recorded cells that students watch. They are actually participating in live with their instructor and classmates. But hey, maybe you have 8 to 10 people you would love to put in one of these classes. We would love to help you with that. We now have the flexibility to host in-person cohorts at your facility. We'd love to talk to you. We can have them at your time, your place, and your location to fit the employees and be very specific to your shop floor. Hey, are you excited about these programs? Instructors are part-time AJAC employees from industry. Are you passionate about these programs? Would you like to teach? We're always looking for additional instructors. Please reach out if you would love or be part of this program. We would love to hear from you. And finally, apprentices can be enrolled year-round with classes starting quarterly. As Heather mentioned earlier on, our next quarter is spring quarter, which will be starting early April. So this is the time to talk to us about enrolling any apprentice into any of our program if you want them to get started in spring. So this will conclude kind of our information. Now we're going to move over to some FAQs and really give you time to open up and ask questions. So Heather, I'm going to turn it back to you.
All right. So a couple of questions that I feel like we normally get, I wanted to cover right off the bat. So first of all, what is your time commitment with this program, right? What are you looking at as far as the programs? Both logistics and operations specialists are 18-month programs. So for each employee that you put into the program, right, they're going to need to be in the program for 18 months. And that being said, we understand things come up, or sometimes that employee leaves, things like that. They don't, it's not that full commitment, but I'd say from the moment you sign, you should at least plan for them to be in the program for the full 18 months, unless something goes horribly wrong, which we hope doesn't happen. But that really depends on which program, right? So we have programs ranging from 18 months all the way up to 6 years, depending on the mastery level needed for that occupation. So we'll talk to you about that when we talk about what program is the best fit for you. We can talk about what timeline would be the best fit for you as well. And I know cost of the program, we've talked to both about how we provide that administrative support at no cost, but there is tuition associated with it. So I just wanted to clear up a common question with that. You're not necessarily required to pay tuition. It's an optional cost to the program, depending on how you want to do that. I would say that most of our employers will work in the tuition cost to their current educational reimbursement plan, depending on what that is. Other employers pay the cost of the tuition, and then other employers ask their employees to pay the cost of tuition, kind of as their skin in the game, so to say. So it's kind of up to you, and we'll talk to you about how you want to handle tuition. But just to be clear, all that administrative support and everything from AJAC, that is no cost to you. The tuition is just, you have some options with what you want to do with tuition. And like we said earlier, that's $300 per class. So it really depends on the length of the program for the total cost that you're looking at for one person to go through the whole thing. And then how does this affect my day-to-day schedule, right? What are you looking at having to do when you bring this program onto your shop? So we always ask that we have someone that we call an apprenticeship coordinator on site. That's just kind of our main point of contact at your company to reach out to and ask questions. We'll follow up with that person on, how the employees are doing. We'll ask if there's additional employees you want to enroll. And then that person just needs to log into our online system once a month to approve hours that the apprentices have reported to us. So when an apprentice reports their hours online, we just look for the employer to verify those hours, so we make sure that they're not saying they're working more or less than they actually did. One other thing to consider is that when we're building out the program, we'll need to take some time to identify your mentors on the shop floor, those leaders that are already there that will help skill up and train the apprentices that you're looking at on the shop floor. And then, as I mentioned earlier, once we have those people identified, we can come in and do a mentorship training with them to help them prepare for the program. But honestly, we try to take the day-to-day off of your hands as much as possible, so that it's really just about having that main contact that we can reach out to and approving hours once a month. And then you can the training already happens on your shop floor. And a lot of times an apprenticeship program can fit very well into an already established training program that you have. And then we just add those college classes and that accreditation, that journey level certification at the end. So a lot of times we can kind of fit it into something that you may already have and just kind of enhance your current on the job training. And then we can go to the next slide.
Yeah.
So if you're excited or you have questions and you're curious about what the next steps would be, we always start out by just having an initial meeting with you to make sure and discuss with you what your training gaps are, anywhere that you see a skills gap, or if you have an occupation identified that you really want to train up to. We'll meet with you, tour your shop, and maybe talk to a couple of your supervisors and see what they're looking for. And we'll just have those first few meetings to decide which occupation is the best fit for your company and for the type of training that you're looking for. After we've identified that, we'll sign, it's a very minimal amount of paperwork with AJAC. It's very nice. It's like 2, maybe 3 forms. It's really not bad. So after we've signed that, we'll work on designing the program. This is where we come in and do the mentorship training. We make your customized training checklist. we'll talk with you about what you want to do regarding tuition and all of those types of things. We'll kind of get into the details of it, design the program. And after that, we'll move to enrollment. AJAC staff, one of the program managers on the call here, will come to your site and we can do recruitment sessions and information sessions with your employees to let them know more about the program. And we'll also do onboarding where we complete paperwork with them and get them signed into the program. So we kind of do all of those steps and then we'll enroll them into their classes. So it's not too bad of a process.
And then
go ahead.
Yeah, so to Amy's question earlier, like, yes, we do, like, if this is all employer driven, so depending on what you guys your needs are, obviously, these programs are to kind of highlight the workers that you already have that you see potential in, but then this can also be used as a tool to recruit people into open positions you have on your shop floor. And sometimes with kind of that career development and that apprenticeship kind of program in your job descriptions and things like that, it's a good way to get new employees or new prospects to the table. And AJAC does have pipeline programs where we can also offer these opportunities that you tell us about, so that they can pick your shop when you partner with us and want to interview with you. That also gives you access to some of the resumes and things like that, so you can look at the different candidates that we have in our pre-apprenticeship programs. So also, if you aren't connected with us on these kind of engagement types of initiatives, please let us know if you're willing to be a speaker in our classes, at different career fairs, things like that. If you don't have the time to keep track of them all, we can definitely help manage some of the logistics as it relates to your community and the needs that you have as a company. So please reach out to us about those things that you'd like to partner with as well. So yeah, I guess the next slide. And if people have questions, please put them in the chat or in the Q&A box at this point. Yeah. Either one.
Or at this
happy
point, we're
to
just
answer
going to
questions.
open up, the last 10 minutes for questions. And if you raise your hand in the chat, I can unmute you if you prefer to talk with us directly. I believe I have the ability to unmute you, and then we could talk to you directly, or you could type them in the chat. And then obviously you have all of our contact information here if you want to reach out individually. So yes, if you have any questions, please feel free to ask.
We'll give everybody a few minutes. And why people are feverishly writing their questions, I just want to let you know, please write down this information. We'll be sending out the recording and the slides so that you can review these with your team or your leadership, or just use as a reference. And if you reach out to your program manager too, they can help with clarifying questions. Do you still have AJAC youth programs? We absolutely do. We are recovering from COVID because the kids were online for a few years. And so now that we've got students in shops again, we know how they're working and things like that. We are actively recruiting youth for these programs, and we also need slots to place these kids at. So if you want to know more about that, please ping your regional program manager. They may be still looking for youth to be placed this year, and for sure next year we have a lot of opportunities as these programs are continuing to grow. And I would say we even have more school districts we've signed on in this past year. I would say it's around 4 or 5 new school district partnerships. So yes, please stay in contact if you want to do youth tours and look at some of our youth resumes and give a student a chance to understand what the real world of manufacturing is all about. So it's a great question. Thanks, Craig.
All right, we have one more question from Q&A. So Tool Gauge is interested in the operations specialist program. When do you anticipate a start date? Great news. We can start that as early as spring quarter, which is the
Yeah.
first week of April. So everything's ready to go. That's why we are doing the webinar at this time, is because it's been approved by LNI, it's registered, and everything is ready to go at this point. So earliest start date would be classes starting in April. And then, as we mentioned, we can come on site and enroll those apprentices at any time. Just reach out to any one of us and we can get that scheduled for you.
Yeah.
And then let's see, as a follow-up, how many applicants do we anticipate for this program? And I think you're referring to operations specialist. Well, or we could cover both. I think that's a good question. I don't know, Bree, I might pass that one over to you.
I mean, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I think, based off of employer feedback and needs and how many people are on the call today, we're expecting at least a couple cohorts across the state and in different regions. So we have the teacher capacity to support that. And we're excited to offer it right now. So everything's been developed and approved through the college system. And so I guess it really comes down to just how many people want to sign up right now. But we've already seen great numbers previous to this call of employers signing up apprentices in local areas. So if you want to get on the train and just go ahead and contact anybody here on the phone call today, and we will be able to sign people up, talk to you about the occupation, get more into the weeds about it. So.
To the next question there, Bree.
Is there another question?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, for logistics, what is the degree equivalent for graduating from the program? Is it an AA or bachelor's degree equivalent? Great question. So they're going to get 30 college credits when they participate in the logistics specialist occupation. That can be used towards an AAS degree. And they'll have to take other classes at the local community college to finish out their AA. I believe to get an AA, you need to have
About 90, I believe.
90 college credits. So this gets them a good portion of the way there. And like I said, they could actually do operations specialists after this if they wanted, or to walk into more of the leadership role with some classes, that wouldn't be overlapping. They'd get those kind of taken off for credit for prior experience. But then that would get them up to, I would say 30. It'd be 30 minus 2 classes, that'd be 20. So they'd get 30, 40, 50 college credits somewhere in there if they decided to tack on, doing the operations specialist degree. But we do have, like I said, pathways, and, we can consult them with the different colleges they work with to be able to finish out that AAS degree if they want it. So
Do also remember they're walking out with a journeyman's. That's their kind of accreditation, is a nationally recognized journeyman's apprenticeship card in this occupation.
Yeah.
So there is a credential at the end.
Yes. And like I said, if they have college stuff that they've done in the past and not quite finished, this could get them over the line. Or like I said, our staff are dedicated to help connect the dots with them if that's a goal that they have. Any other questions? Okay. I don't see any more. So I just want to say thank you guys so much for being on the call today, for taking the time out of your, I know, busy schedules to be able to listen to these things and our presentation today. We're so thankful to be able to do this type of work with all the employers on this phone call. And like I said, our staff is very accommodating. We'll bend over backwards to try to get you as much information as possible on any of the programs that we offer or how they operate. Or even present to your leadership team if that's something that's needed for more buy-in. So please reach out to us at any time again. And I thank you so much for your time today. It's nice seeing all of the people on here that we know and even new people. So thank you so much. And we're really excited about these programs. So please, get some people on your shop floor excited about it, and we'd love to train them up. So have a good rest of your day, and thank you.